Come with me.
But you can see, Spirit, I have no slippers on, and ouch, I think I'm about to catch a cold. So if it's all the same, I think I'd rather stay. And remember, Spirit, I am only mortal. I'm liable to fall. You are here to show me things that have not yet happened. Is that not so, Spirit? You would think I would be used to ghostly visits by now, but I am not. You frighten me like never before. Yet, I know your purpose here is to do me good, so I will accept your company with a thankful heart. But why do you not speak to me, Spirit? Please, Spirit, say a sentence to put me at ease. If not a sentence, then a word. No? A vow? The night is waning fast. Time is precious. I know. Show me, Spirit. Show me. Please tell me, are these shadows of things that will definitely be, or are they just the shadows of things that might just be? Please, Spirit, show me a speckle of kindness. Ebenezer Scrooge! No! It cannot be! I can change. I have changed. I am not the man that I once was. Why have you sent me these three spirits and given me a chance of hope when there is none? I have been saved. I have been given a second chance. I have been shown a glimpse of things what could have been. And now I will make sure that they will never be. And I will honor Christmas and never forget the lessons that the three spirits have taught me. Oh, goodness gracious me. I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I could scream. I could laugh. I feel as young as a schoolboy. The next day, I went to community caring down at the health centre. It caters for all sorts. Steve, who runs it, said he's dead against what he calls the ghetto approach. What he's after is a nice mix of personality difficulties as being a fruitful exercise in problem solving and a more realistic model of society in general. There's a constant flow of coffee oiling the wheels, as Steve calls it, and we're all encouraged to ventilate our problems and generally let our hair down. I sometimes feel a bit out of it, as I don't have any particular problems. But this time, when Steve says, "Right, now, lads and lassesses, who is going to get the ball rolling?" I get in quick and tell them all about Mother and Mr. Turnbull. And when I've finished, Steve says, "Thank you, Graham, for sharing your problem with us. Who would like to kick it around?" First off the mark is Leonard, who wonders whether Graham has sufficiently appreciated that older people can have meaningful relationships as well as young people. This is not unsurprising coming from Leonard, as he is 65, but he doesn't have meaningful relationships. he's just been had up for exposing himself at Sainsbury's doorway. As Mother says, Tesco's, you could understand it. And then Janice chips in, have they been having sexual intercourse? I said, I don't know, I don't really want to think about it. And Steve says, why? I said, I don't know. He says, well, maybe what we should be talking about is why Graham is being so defensive about sexual intercourse. I said, look, Steve, I'm not being defensive about sexual intercourse. She's my mother. And then Jackie, who's 9 parts lesbian, says, Graham, but she is a woman. I said, I don't believe this, Jackie. You said you were against marriage. She said, I'm not against a caring marriage, Graham. I said, this isn't a caring marriage, Jackie. She said, well, what's Tenerife? All I got was a black eye and a day trip to Fleetwood. Where did this charitable gentleman with a first-class ticket to this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, a large, brown, somewhat capacious handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
And where did this Mr. John or James Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom of Victoria Station, it was given to him in mistake of his own.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial, Mr. Worthing. To say I am somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred in a handbag, whether it has handles on it or not, seems to me to display an utmost contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life, which reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution, and I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. And as for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station, well, it may prove to conceal a social indiscretion before now, and has probably been used for that purpose. But it can hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognised position in good society.
Well, what do you expect me to do, Lady Bracknell? You know I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make every effort to produce one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
Well, I don't know how you expect me to do that. I can produce the handbag at a moment's notice. It's in my dressing room at home. Surely that should be enough to satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it got to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I, or Lord Bracknell, would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and to form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing. Your record in the war is very well remembered by us, Captain.
I'm glad to hear you say that, sir.
Let's get to the point.
If you don't mind. In our Navy, we hold you in very high regard, which explains why I am here. Having had no answer from our telegram, the High Command sent me in person.
Very flattering, Admiral, but I've had no time to consider...
I am here to present you with your commission.
I'm deeply conscious of the honour, sir, but...
Your orders are to report immediately
to the naval base at Bremenhaven.
Immediately. I'm afraid that will be impossible for you, Georg.
Admiral, may I present my wife, the Baroness von Trapp?
Madam?
What I meant, sir, is that we're all performing at the Cotsburg Festival Friday night. See here, the Von Trapp family singers in the programme.
Friday night. This is Wednesday. It is only a matter of a few days. It might be possible.
Oh, bleeding hell, give me strength. You're late, Isabel Preston. I can't believe that I gave up dancing centre stage at the Theatre Royale for a living to do this on a minimum wage. Arms and up. Seconds. Tummy's in.
Was deeply passionate about his art.
Carry on like that, Tracy Simmons, and you're going to end up just like your sister. I'm a working class man. The working class man I am. I've got a job in a bank and life was great. I tilt my hat this way and that. I look quite dandy in my pinstripe suits. I even bought myself a pair of shiny shoes. Whilst my father carried on wearing his working boots. I'd just taken a tea up this morning when she said, "Graham, I think the world of you." I said, "I think the world of you." She said, "Well, that's all right then." I said, "What's brought all this on?" She said, "Nothing. This tea looks strong. Pull the curtains." Of course, I knew what I'd brought it on. She said, "I wouldn't like you to think you're not number one." I said, "You're number one with me too. Give me your teeth, I'll swallow them." What it was is we had a spot of excitement yesterday. We ran into a bit of mother's past. I said to her, "I didn't know you had a past. I thought I were your past." She said, "You?" I said, "Well, we go back a long way." "How does he fit in vis-a-vis Dad?" She laughed. "Oh, it's pre-Dad," she said. "Pre-Dad," I said. "I'm surprised you can remember him. You can't even remember to turn your blanket off." She said, "That's different. His name's Turnbull." I said, "I know." He said. I parked her by the War Memorial on her usual seat while I went and got some reading matter. And then I waited while she went to spend a penny in the disabled toilet. She's not actually disabled. Her memory's bad, but she says she prefers those toilets because you've got a bit more elbow room. She always takes forever diddling her hands and whatnot. And when she finally comes back, it turns out that she's been talking to the attendant. I said, "What about?" She said, "Hanging. She's in favour of stiffer penalties for minor offences." And I thought, well, we know different, our Graham and me. I wish you were there, love. You could have given her the statistics. Where are we going for our tea? The thing about Mam is although she's never had a proper education, she's picked up enough from me to be able to hold her own in up-to-the-minute discussions about topical issues like the environment and the colour problem. And for a woman of her age and background, she has a very liberal slant. She'll look at my Guardian and she actually thinks for herself. Dr. Chowdhury said to me, "Full marks, Graham. The best way to avoid a broken hip
is to have a flexible mind. Keep up the good work. They go mad round the war memorial. So when we cross over, I generally slip my arm through hers till we're safely across. Only once we're on the pavement, she postpones from letting go, because once upon a time we were stopped by one of those questionnaire women who reckons to take us for husband and wife. I mean, Mum's got white hair. She was doing this bit of a dodge and I said, "Mum, let go of my arm." And the next thing, I didn't really wrench it, but the next thing I know, she was flat on the pavement and I said, "Oh my God, Mother." People gathered round and I picked up her bag. And she sits up and says, "Oh, I've loaded both my stockings." I said, "Never mind your stockings. What about your pelvis?" She said, "It's these bifocals. They tell you not to look down. I was avoiding some sick." And then somebody says, "That's a familiar voice." This little fella bending over her. Green trilby hat. Shorty raincoat. "Hello," he says. "Remember me?" Well, she doesn't remember people. I know that for a fact, because she swore me down that she'd never met Joy Buckle, who teaches flowers and felt and fabric at my day centre. I said, "You have met Joy. You knitted her a tea cosy." That's all she can knit. Tea cozies and bed socks, both outmoded articles. I said to her, "Branch out. If you can knit tea cozies, you can knit skiing hats." She said, "Well, I will." Mind you, I still have to stand over her, otherwise she still leaves a hole for the spout. Anyway, I said, "You do remember Joy, because you said she had shocking eyebrows." She said, "Oh, but you didn't tell her that." I said, "Of course not." She said, "Well, I don't remember, and that's the way she is. She doesn't remember." So here's this little fella saying, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "No, she won't. Come on, Mother, let's get you up." Only she says, "Remember you? Of course. It's Frank Turnbull. It must be 50 years. He says, 52, Farley, 1934. She says, "Seacrest." He says, "No sand in the bedrooms," and they both cracked out laughing. One day you wake up and it's like you're fighting a different war. It's like every day is drill on the rain-slick barrack square and you're parading in front of the brass and every head is turned and every boot comes down and everything is in its place except your heart.
Did she ask about my cock?
What?
Did she ask about my cock?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's something I would remember.
Well, you should have told her then.
Told her what?
Told her that my cock works.
Are you messy?
No, I'm serious.
How much of that weed did you have?
I'm not high, Chris.
Right, you're off your fucking tits.
I'm not. You should have just told her that my cock works. Is that too much to ask?
Well, I'm very sorry about that, Ryan, but there wasn't much of an opening in the conversation to talk about that kind of thing. I mean, there's a time and a place. People respect someone who's actually fought in the war. They see the uniform and it commands respect. Now look, I've been very patient with you, but
Did you force yourself onto Sylvie? Is that why she left?
I have never forced myself onto anyone.
No, you just took what you thought was yours.
I do not have to justify myself to you or to anyone else. I am the head of this household. They are my people, my servants. Besides, woman, you saw the way she looked at me, always smiling at me, flirting with me. What else was I meant to do other than to react? I'm only human. I'm a man who has needs. Besides, that's what the maids are for. People need to remain in their place. Order must be upheld. There must be order. With men like me leading the way, I have a title and power. I was the best man for the job. I did it because it was right. He was a loose cannon. He was different. I could not control him. I am a good soldier, like my father was, and his father before him. I do not deserve this. I can hear you huffing and puffing all the way up here.
Well, it's heavy. What even is it?
It's an essential component of a death machine, and you are a very useful mammal.
Thank you. There's council coming up, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
Do you want me to tell them to bugger off, or do you want the pleasure?
No, I will, after a fashion. It is all up with me, and I cannot be helped.
Oh, it's about yourself.
Who else? It's no use lying to oneself. I am the most wretched of all my patients, Mrs. Helmer. And lately, I've been taking stock of my internal economy. Bankrupt. Probably within the month, I shall lie rotting in the churchyard.
What an ugly thing to say.
The whole thing is cursedly ugly. And the worst of it is that there is so much more that is ugly before that. I only have to do one more examination of myself. And when I have done that, I shall know pretty suddenly when the horrors of disillusions will begin. I have something I want to tell you. Helmer's refined nature gives him an unconquerable disgust of anything that is ugly. I will not have him in my sick room.
Dr. Rank?
I will not have him there, not on any account. I will bar my door to him. And when I am quite certain that the worst has come, I will send you my card with a black cross on it. And then you will know that the lonesome end has begun.
You're in an absurd mood today. I wanted you to be in such good humour.
What? With death stalking beside me? And having to pay this penalty for another man's sin? Is there any justice in that? And in every single family, in some such way or another, some inexorable retribution is being exacted.
Oh, rubbish. Do talk of something cheerful.
Oh yes, the whole thing is a mere laughing matter. My poor innocent spine has to suffer for my father's youthful amusements.
May I congratulate you on the results?
Indeed you may.
Was it favourable then?
Both for doctor and patient. Certainly.
Certainly.
Absolute certainty. So, wasn't I entitled to make a merry evening after that?
Yes, you certainly were, Dr. Rank.
Yes, I know people say that you have to pay for everything in this life. I mean, but then you don't get anything without paying for it. I know that you love me, Pat. And when I was Ken Harrison, I loved you. But that was a long time ago. Well, at least 6 months and a spine ago. I'm not the man that loved you now. You've been loyal. You've been loving. you've been self-sacrificing. And I don't want to be any part of it anymore. I want you to walk out of here and never come back. I want you to meet a man, get married, have babies. Do you know that every time you walk into this room, you remind me of the way things were? And every time I look at you, I see what I cannot do, and what I will never do again. I can't stand it. I know that you love me, Patty. So if you do, and you don't want to go on torturing me, you'll leave now. Please. I'm a fool.
Yeah, I always knew you were. Look, please, don't let it come to this again, okay? Please, just promise you'll tell me.
I promise.
Right, terms your Kira here. He's very late.
Will's not coming.
What? Why?
I've given him the week off so I could spend more time with Neve before.
Right. Right.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm staying. I'm going to call Cherry, let her know.
Not on that phone, you're not.
Why, what do you mean?
I cut the line.
Why?
So, I couldn't back out if I was alone and scared.
You're not alone.
I know. Come on, let's get this party started.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Come on, Smiles. To friendship.
Friendship. You're gonna get me into trouble, aren't you?
I do hope so. Thinking about it. Thinking about what it's like to become a woman. With all that strength. And physical and like mental. And all that confidence and pride. And when I think about becoming a woman, I think about having a family. Something I've always wanted my whole life. And it means to me becoming that woman that I've always dreamed of being. And then one day sort of realizing that it's kind of an idea that you're sort of, well, coming into yourself. And it's totally new. I know it sounds silly, but it's really lovely to think about. And the days, and they're most days now, thankfully, that I do feel confident. The day that I do feel strong, capable, and fearless. I guess before, I didn't really think much about the future. But now, the future is really exciting. I want to die.
What? Danny, no. Wait, no, come on. This is just a low.
It's more than that.
Why?
You spotted the tumour in the pub on that Friday night, remember? 4 years after Keris died. 4 years of putting mine and Neve's life back together piece by piece. And then on the Monday morning, my whole world was blown apart all over again. If you hadn't spotted it, I'd be dead now. I wouldn't be in so much pain. I wouldn't be in this chair. I wouldn't be here. That's why.
So you're a coward. Neve was 10. She's 16 now. You've had all this time together.
Look at me!
Oh, the shark has pretty teeth here, and he shows them 30 wide.
prisoner. Neve is my jailer.
It's her birthday. Every year, for the rest of her life, this is all she'll remember. This is so selfish.
It's not selfish.
Of course it's selfish.
I would have done it years ago if I didn't think there was a risk of her being put into care. But there isn't now. She's an adult. She will inherit the house. Today is the day I will set us both free.
Danny, I can't let you die. I'm a doctor. I just can't.
I'm glad that you came today, my mate. But you have to let me go. Please. Please.
I can't.
I'm still in her childhood. But deep down inside, part of her knows that I love her more than anything else in the world. And that I'd do anything for her. Anything.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
There's nothing you can do. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I, that am so rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this bare proportion, cheated in future by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I hold by them. Why I, in this weak, piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions, dangerous, by prophecies, liables, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, then this day shall Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says, G. of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here, Clarence comes. I'm so sorry to have to tell you this, but you have no idea what it's like to have to rely on someone every day of your life to get you up, get you dressed, and get you out. If you could spend just 24 hours in our shoes, you may just begin to realise some of the difficulties that we face on a daily basis. You'd also realise that we're pretty bloody amazing people, capable of both ordinary and amazing things.
You have to know the local employers and what it is that they want people to do for them.
I have to dig around, I mean.
Yeah, very much. Find out who the employers are locally and what they want from their people. Well, then you can get in touch with them with a CV that's aimed straight at them and their jobs.
Phone them up, like?
Yeah, or make an appointment to meet someone and have a chat. Do you think you could do that? I mean, would you feel confident with that?
Oh yes, that's no problem. It's knowing the firms and what they want that's the problem.
Well, but it's good that you feel confident with making the calls and so on. Do you feel as confident about interviews?
Well, I could tell them about Dover strands, but it wouldn't mean much to most people. It were very specialised, you see.
Well, yes, it was, but you've got lots to tell them about yourself, your skills and experience. I mean, does the idea of an interview bother you?
No, I had lots of chats with Dover management team. That don't bother me one bit.
Oh, well, that's good.
We're all just a tiny bit like Hitler. That's right, that's lovely. We're all got a little bit of hate. Smashing, we made on. Oh, here's the hole and flash. But sometimes people like to laugh the whole in the shit. That's absolutely marvellous. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, the shark had pretty teeth here, and he showed them pearly white. Just a jackknife had my teeth here, and he keeps it out of sight.
None of us is safe anymore.
Mum, that's not true.
Those wolves are getting bolder.
Yes, but that's only the wild wolves in the forest, Father. There's lots of wolves living quite happily with humans.
Perhaps, but tomorrow night is the night of the full moon, when the wild wolves gather deep in the forest for a wolf fest.
Dad, that's an old wives' tale.
Look at you. You're pathetic. A complete mess. No life of your own. Hanging round my neck like a dead weight. No friends. Screaming like a spoilt little kid whenever I go out for a minute. You can't even shit on your own. Speak up.
Problem seems to be that the various organisations in the public and charity sector have different remits.
No, not fundamentally. Everybody wants to help and provide services. It's just that they go about it differently.
Pleased to meet you, John. I'm James, I'm your social worker, and I'm your main point of contact with regards your special needs.
Pleased to meet you.
Now, I've read your file, and I'd like to suggest that you go to a day centre.
I'd rather not. They tend to be full of people I have very little in common with.
Well, if nothing else, it'll give your partner a chance to have some time off.
I think my partner rather likes having me around.
I see. Anything else?
My bathroom.
Ah, yes. I understand that you are unable to stand independently and need help getting into and out of the bath.
Yes, a few bars ought to do the trick.
I should be so lucky, lucky, lucky. I should be so lucky and loud. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky.
Lovely to see you. Cheers.
What's up?
Dad? That guy today? The black guy? Who is he? What was he doing here? Why? He was one of them. One of the gang responsible for this. He did this to me, Dad. My father's waiting for you in the garden. Hit him hard. Make him suffer. Do it again. Hurt him. Make him say, what the? I just wanted to hear him say, no more. Just like I did.
I want you to know something.
I know it may not mean much now, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm blowing the stuff on the guys who did all this to you. Not because of you. I ain't doing this just for you. I'm doing it for me. It's me I've got to live with, and it ain't going to be a life if I don't. That's it.
It may not be much of a life if you do. Dad says Kerrigan's...
Kerrigan doesn't scare me. He's the cat we got a skin. Take it easy now.
Good luck! Denzel. The teaching I received certainly gave me the confidence to pursue my acting career. And if you want to take design as a career, well then you can take BTEC First Diploma in Design here.
That's a lovely shot.
This will make the creative arts facilities some of the finest in the country. This new building will house up-to-the-minute photography and design studios, drama workshops and a fully accessible theatre with a computer-controlled sound and lighting in it. Who knows, I may even perform here one day. If you've got green fingers and you want to learn more about the environment, well, this is the place to come. You can take a City and Guilds in horticulture, or, like with any other subject, you can take it as an option.
Well done. You have to work a bit harder than that, Mark. Come on.
That's enough for me. I'm off for a sauna. I learnt to drive here at college. Students can become confident here in the college grounds before venturing out into the public highways. Sometimes even, lessons take place on the wheelchair racetracks. That's when there aren't any wheelchair users on it, of course. Since leaving college, I've become a professional actor and worked with several theatre companies all over the country. Early this year, I launched myself into mainstream television. We all made a great living coming here, and we hope you do too.
It's the 10 stop.
And today's story is called The Singing Chandelier. Psst.
Haydn!
Fancy a cup of tea, Hilda?
Love one. Haydn's my hubby. He works the lights. He's ever so clever.
Oh, don't be soppy, Hilda.
Look at all those buttons. How does he ever know which one to press?
How do you manage to sing so beautifully?
Oh, don't be daft.
There's your mug.
Oh, thanks. There you are, Haydn.
Ah, Dame Clodagh, what an honour.
There's something wrong with the lights.
The lights?
Yes, for the Grand Opera, the removal men.
Are they too bright?
Too bright? They're not bright enough.
The lights.
The lights?
Lights that bedazzle, lights that shimmer like stars, lights that sparkle like jewels. Of course, maybe the lights can tell her.
Well, what do you mean?
Oh, wait and see.
What are you? Oh, that's a good sandcastle, Mark.
That's because Francesca in the story always built her sandcastles like that. That is until Fred came along.
Hey, Simon.
What?
Mark's got to go now.
Will you give us a lift, Simon? I don't think I'll get your wheelchair in the bus, Mark.
Oh, it's all right. It folds up. Look, I'll show you. Hey, fancy that? Ooh, just like a buggy.
What you want?
Oh, Johnny. What are you two doing dressed like that, Mr. Cryer? A bit of detective work?
No, it's not the clothes, it's the running, Johnny. Us old mugs, we're training for the divisional quarter marathon.
Well, see you then.
Yeah, Johnny.
Bye.
Look after yourself. Oh, shouldn't have stopped.
Shattered. It's hard work. Oh, perhaps we're getting too old for this. There's no perhaps about it. Oh, you wouldn't believe I used to play divisional soccer, would you? Well, you still play cricket, don't you? Yeah, but there's no running around in that. Hey, those kids are mugging him. You all right, Johnny?
Of course I'm not. Pick me up, you silly brat.
Fair enough.
I'd rather get on with the job myself than tell other people what to do, especially people like Dave Quinn. Hello, Johnny. You all right now?
I'm all right. You want to keep your eye on Sergeant Cryer. He'll end up in one of these if he's not careful. Wants to take care of himself. A man of his age. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.